going to be chatting today with Barry Lawrence, and I've known Barry through his flying and being a commissioner for the airport in Petaluma, and I know that flying is a passion for you, and wine is more than a hobby, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I'm thrilled to be here because I know your background. It's not just mayor of Petaluma, it's also radio personality. And so this is my first experience with you and a microphone, and we get to have a camera too.
Okay, so we're going to have some fun, but for me this is different as well because I get to talk about things that are going on in the region with people and in an industry that is so exciting to Sonoma County, and that's the wine industry. Tell us about your background in wine.
Well, my background in wine started in 1982 when I won a gold medal and the sweepstakes of the best white homemade wine at the California State Fair. Now, unfortunately, that led to friends telling me, oh, you should start a commercial winery. And I said, no, I don't want to do that. And then next year I made wine again and I won some more medals. And third year, again, more medals. And so, unfortunately, it started working in the back of my mind, you better go out and maybe investigate starting a winery. So I did.
Well, before all of the medals and before that first experience in 1982, you were over in Germany. Did you study wines in Europe at all?
Well, that's true, yes. I studied at the German Wine Academy in Kloster Eberbach in the Rheingau region of Germany. And it is a week-long intensified course. They wake you up in the morning at 6 a.m. We leave on the bus promptly at 7. And at midnight, we're still drinking wines.
And you do it all over again the next day?
We do it all over the next day. And it was just absolutely this incredible education and learning. That's why I learned that 60% of whether you like a wine is on your nose.
So it's the smell, it's the aroma?
Yeah, if the wine smells good, it's going to taste good. So there's more to tasting wine than just the flavor. It's also how it feels and what's proper sensations are in your mouth. I've done everything. I've done everything in the wine industry that's possible. I've been a wholesaler, a retailer, a grape picker, a grafter of grapes.
Your winery, the Eagle Ridge Winery, tell us about that.
Well, I no longer own the Eagle Ridge Winery. It was sold many years ago. But I started it in 1983 on a piece of paper, officially had our first bottling in 1985, and operated it for a 10-year period of time. And so the vineyard was there under my ownership until just last year.
Talking to Annie Keller, she was talking about the importance of the wind in the Petaluma Gap, that it also is a player in terms of when the vines might get moist with the fog, then the wind comes in and dries it out so you don't get any of that mildew. How important was it for you being on the ridge?
Well, we're on Crown land, so our property is in north end of Petaluma, so the Denman Road area, Goodwin Avenue and Old Redwood Highway, so this nice crown of land. So we didn't have any frost problems at all, never had to worry about frost at all. But we had that wind, that Petaluma Gap wind. And so I put in the vineyard layout so we'd be crosswind. So the wind would have to hit the first row. The first row was strengthened, and that would slow down the effect on the second row and the third and on and on.
I'm just wondering about your innovation of you being the first person to use the Geneva double trellising system.
Yeah.
What is it? First tell us what it is and then tell us.
Very first. It's called the GDC, which stands for Geneva Double Curtain. It has nothing to do with Switzerland. Everyone thinks it has to be a European origination, and it's not. So what you do is you have a vine growing out of the ground. It comes up and you shape it into a Y. And it goes out 42 inches wide. And then at the top of the Y, you have two cordon arms going out. So quadrilateral, 1, 2, 3, 4 arms, with this 42-inch gap in between. And what that gap allows is the single vine to actually be struck by the sunlight 4 different times, 4 different places, instead of just 2 different places.
The American viticultural area that the Gap is attempting to have a designation on, tell us why that's important.
Well, what it does is it gives you a delimited area or a focused area where particular grape varieties are going to excel, where they're just going to be absolutely wonderful.
What was it like when you were growing up and studying? I know you went to Germany, you talked about that, but what else?
Well, it was Santa Rosa Junior College, which has the largest viticultural program at any junior college, and it's the only bonded winery junior college in the state of California. And then there was UC Davis. Sonoma State.
Well, do you feel like that maybe if the cable TV industry had progressed a little bit faster, that you might have been the next Guy Fieri as far as talking about wines, where he talks about diners and dives?
Well, I could have been. There's lots of people out there that have that same experience, but I'm the expert on Petaluma right now.
What will it mean to this area to put the Petaluma AVA on the map?
Well, it'll be very important because it'll separate it from, first of all, Sonoma County, which is the overall appellation, and that's the important area. Where does the wine come from? Sonoma County. All right, so now the consumer is going to want to know, well, where in Sonoma County? Because there's different areas that grow different grapes. And you think of the Petaluma Gap as Pinot Noir and Syrah and grape varieties that do extremely well down here. So the other area that we are part of right now is the Sonoma Coast appellation, which is the biggest one that we have in Sonoma County. And it goes all the way from the Mendocino County line, follows the coastline, and then comes inland, comes in and takes all of Petaluma and goes towards the Sonoma Valley. And then it goes up the Cotati Plains, the southern Santa Rosa Plains, towards Santa Rosa. And it's basically the fog belt. So what makes the Petaluma Gap unique in that area is that, first of all, it's just a small portion of the greater Sonoma coast, but it's also the portion that is the windiest and foggiest.
When people realize from all over the world the Petaluma Gap, and tourism's the number one economic driver for Sonoma County, that's got to be a positive economic engine for Petaluma itself, in addition to all of Sonoma County.
Oh, absolutely. But way back when Petaluma put up the new, quote-unquote, new signs that say Petaluma on there, one of the things that I suggested was put a cluster of grapes. Going to be an up-and-coming grape-growing area, and you can call yourselves the portal to the wine country. So, the first wine country that's across the Golden Gate Bridge in reality.
Tell us about just one or two of the artifacts that will be on display that you have that you'll have copies of at the museum.
Well, what I think are interesting are several that actually show the properties, and it's a report from the 1887 Viticultural Commissioner's Report. Isaac de Turk was the viticultural commissioner representing the coastal area of Northern California to the Viticultural Commission in Sacramento. And he's got actually listed in this report where the vineyards were in Petaluma, who owned them, how many acres they were, what grape varieties they grew, and it's quite fascinating. I have a copy of an article, a copy of a page of John Bidwell, the pioneer that came to California, and he went over to Fort Ross and talked about the first vineyard that was planted in Sonoma County, not in Sonoma, not by the Mexicans, not by the Americans. It was the Russians that planted the first grapes in Sonoma County. By the way, the second largest winery in California, guess where it was located?
In the Petaluma Gap.
Petaluma, downtown Petaluma.
And what was the name of that winery?
That was the Lockman Jacoby Winery, which located to Petaluma in 1906.
Where was that located exactly?
Well, today I would have to say it's where the O'Reilly Auto Parts store, that and the CVS, that whole, it was like a 10-block area there that was this largest winery. They moved out of San Francisco because of the earthquake. They had no place to go. They wanted to come to Petaluma because they heard there was no earthquakes here. And there was a railroad and a river. So important things to have when you're a winery to get your product out.
I think you're the mayor the town needs to explain. So you help me be an ambassador for the wine industry, and we'll go out and recruit some folks to come to Petaluma and keep that tourism coming to town.
Well, that's what we want to do because there's so many things to see in Petaluma, and that's just now one of them. And it's the number one industry in California, along with the Golden Gate Bridge. So we have the Golden Gate Bridge in the wine country, which is why people come to San Francisco. And so we want to bring them up here and have them enjoy Petaluma, the river that we have, the Victorian homes that are here, the proximity to everything. We're 30 minutes away to everything exciting in the North Bay. 30 minutes away, Petaluma.
Would it be okay if I declared you the ambassador for wine for Petaluma?
I'd love it.
All right, that's it. That's official, folks. Was that great or what? That was an education. That's Barry Lawrence, and he is our friend that has served Petaluma on the Airport Commission. I've known him before as a pilot, and I'm fascinated to find out about the background with the wine industry, and we all love the wines that are coming out of the Petaluma Gap. So put it on your calendar, September 20th, the big gala fundraiser event at Keller Estates Winery, and September 27th, the big fundraiser for the Petaluma Museum. And I'm David Glass for our producer, Kaye Chandler, and the owner of the California Wine Museum, Jim McCormick. Thank you, Jim.
My pleasure. Great job.
It's always a thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here. Till next time, it's been nice talking to you.